Suzuki Swift Sport has long been a car embraced by serious drivers who know a great handling hot hatch when they see it, and remain so in this improved third generation form. Though not especially powerful, it's agile, chuckable and brilliant fun for not a lot of money. Now, its 1.4 litre Boosterjet turbo engine has gained mild hybrid assistance, which has enhanced torque, efficiency and in-gear acceleration. This car will still be a well-kept secret in this segment, but one loyal buyers will enjoy hugely.
The Swift Sport formula has never been defined by outright power. What's always mattered more with this model line is light, chuckable agility, and that's something that this third generation car still specialises in thanks to its relatively feather-light curb weight of only just over a tonne. Which is important if, as we do, you embrace the Colin Chapman mantra that greater power makes you go faster in a straight line, but lighter weight makes you go faster everywhere. This Swift Sport certainly still feels pretty fast everywhere, even in this mild hybrid form, in which guys power has dropped from 140 to 129 PS. The 1.4 litre turbocharged Boosterjet engine under the bonnet is still basically the same though, despite embellishment with 48 volt electrified technology, which includes a torque fill control feature to improve engine response at low revs and torque boost to make acceleration smoother. Those two things together account for a 5 Nm increase in torque. There's now 235 Nm on tap, which predictably isn't quite enough to compensate for the extra weight increase we just mentioned and for this hybrid variant's slight power reduction. As a result, the Resta 62 sprint time falls by a second over the original version of this Mark III model. It's now quoted at 9.1 seconds. Top speed remains at 130 miles an hour though. We wouldn't care too much about that if the accelerative benefits of the torque fill system were a bit more obvious. Still, in the mid-range where it matters, there's no doubt that this car feels a fair bit quicker than those figures suggest. Especially when the road gets twisty. Kart-like driving dynamics have always been a major attraction for Swift Sport buyers, and here, as before in this Mark III model, they're further developed by a stiff front suspension system with Monroe shock absorbers front and rear. The sharply responsive variable ratio steering system helps too, plus the beefy brakes inspire confidence, and there's a fruity soundtrack from the specially tuned exhaust, which is all good for those times when you can drive this car as it was designed to be driven. For those times when you can't though, this Swift Sport delivers a surprisingly absorbent ride and affordable WLTP rated running costs, a 50.1 mpg combined cycle figure and 127 grams per kilometre of CO2. This car doesn't only show some other affordable small hot hatches how they should drive, it also, for us, offers a good template on how they should look. Muscular shoulders, blacked out A-pillars and what Suzuki calls underspoilers all round deliver a potently understated level of pavement presence, but also a demeanour that's assertive enough to suggest that you might be in for a bit of fun at the wheel. This third generation Swift Sport design is 50 millimetres longer than a standard Swift model, and it sits 15 millimetres lower to the ground than the pre-2017 era AZG series second generation version did. These days there's no longer a 3-door body style option, but Suzuki has sought to retain a 3-door-like look by hiding the rear door handles in this trailing edge of the C-pillar. Of course, as usual, what's more important is the stuff that you can't see, namely this model's stiff, sophisticated TECT platform. It's designed around what Suzuki calls total effective control technology. Now, this uses lots of high-strength steel to make the structure very strong, but also low in weight. Now, that's the main reason why this Swift weighs so little, even by relatively light class standards. Time to take a seat up front. You feel this model's lightweight when you slam the driver's door shut, which isn't ideal, but otherwise, by Super Mini standards, the cabin feels quite nice, providing you're not expecting premium quality fittings and acres of slush-moulded soft-touch plastic. You're not paying for that kind of thing here, and you don't get it. What you do get is just enough interior differentiation to make you feel like you're in a serious hot hatch. The grippy branded sports bucket seats are probably the highlight here. They prove to be supportive and surprisingly comfortable too, providing your frame is narrow enough to fit into them, of course. There is also a set of aluminium pedals down there with a chrome accented gear knob too, a red stitched gaiter around it, and emotive red flashings on the fascia and the centre stack. Right, time to take a seat in the back, and that's accessible via these concealed upper door catches we mentioned earlier. This car does remain one of the more compact models in the Super Mini hot hatch segment when it comes to rear seat space. Some might even find it a touch claustrophobic back here. Still, thanks to that lengthened wheelbase and some extra room that's been liberated from the engine compartment, there is now a reasonable amount of legroom on offer for this class of car. Out back in the boot, we're promised that the benefits of this A2L generation model's wheelbase increase will be more obvious, and sure enough, the light tailgate raises to reveal a reasonably sized cargo area space. It's 265 litres in capacity. Now, that's not anything like enough to threaten the segment class leaders, but it is at least enough to keep this Suzuki on a competitive footing with them. In an ideal world, the Swift Sport wouldn't need any sort of hybrid electrification. This Japanese junior hot hatch was always at its best in its most simple, uncomplicated forms, but we don't live in an ideal world. Suzuki needs to drive down emissions across its range, and hot hatches, even simply orientated ones, have to evolve. We wish that wasn't the case, because the consequence of all that is that the price of this one has been pushed up rather a lot. But given the need for evolution, we can at least give some thanks that the essential character of this car is still as endearing as ever. Need convincing that power isn't everything in a performance car? Well, if so, you need to drive this one. We guarantee it'll surprise you.